What's up, 2A community? My first video, Jeff from Mud Ammunitions. Coming at you live today, kicking off the channel for the first time. Want to thank all the other 2A YouTubers out there that really encouraged me to get out here and do this. I know we need more voices in the community. We're going to cover a lot of things on this channel. We're going to talk about New York State. We're going to talk about that a little bit. That's where I'm from, if you can't tell from this fucking thick accent, right? Can't get rid of it. With the Bruin decision last year, I know a lot of you guys are familiar with it. Finally got the right to conceal carry. Criminals have been doing it, right, for decades, which is amusing to me with the gun-free zones in Times Square and things like that. We'll get into that on another video. Tons of stuff to cover. We're going to do holster reviews, my first 3 pistols, why I picked them, how I'm carrying, what I'm wearing, right, change of clothes, things like that. We're going to talk about woods defense, personal defense. We're going to do some ballistic testing with meat, pork loins. We're going to do a lot of really interesting things on this channel, from political views and really just all 2A focused. Anyway, the reason for today's view is the 1,000-round review on the Glock 20. This is unloaded, empty magazine. Just wanted to show from a concealability standpoint how impressed I'm with being able to carry the Glock 20. It wasn't my first pistol. This was actually my second one. My first pistol was a CZ P07. We'll get into subcompacts and full size and larger frame pistols like this, but so impressed on not only how concealable this is with the right holster, and we'll get into holsters in a minute, but what I'm rocking is a Vetter Pro Tuck. Super comfortable. Got it at the 3 o'clock position. For striker fired pistols, that's what I'm comfortable with for now. I know there's a big debate on appendix carry versus in the waistband. I do carry appendix. For the time being, I'm only comfortable doing it with a hammer fired pistol, thus the reason for the CZ P07. Not saying it's not safe. I think it is. These are my personal beliefs. But anyway, got 1,000 rounds through this Glock. I put the 1,000 rounds through it with the Holosun SCS MOS red dot. I'll show you a little bit of that more up close. The dot does fit a little bit slimmer on the rail. The Glock 20 does have a, I'm sorry, not the rail, the slide. It does have a little bit of a meatier slide, right? It's a 10 millimeter, so obviously it has to be a little bit thicker, but really, really impressed. I put through all kinds of ammo through this. I put through personal defense hot loads, Hornet A HST. I've put through some Federal Punch. I put through some Federal HST. Hornet A might be something different. Sorry if I confused that. And then for out here in the great woods of upstate New York, when I camp, using Underwood hard cast 220 grain coated ammo. Really love that too. I'll throw a quick clip on later. At the range, that stuff does fit fireballs, but not only am I impressed with how the gun has ran, but I'm super impressed with the kickback. I was pretty surprised. There were a few big YouTubers out there. One of them in particular was complaining about he couldn't hit the targets, and I'm not going to mention names or anything like that, but because I respect the guy. But to me, this did not really have much kick. Obviously, it does have more kick than a 9mm. But super controllable. Personally, I actually like the kick. But like I said, super controllable, super manageable. My girlfriend actually even shot it. She's about 5 feet, 130 pounds, and she didn't have an issue with it. So from a controllability standpoint, just super impressed. Obviously, it's a Glock, so you have the reliability as well. All right, here's a better picture of that dot. Obviously these things are hard to get on camera. I do got to say I'm really, really impressed with it. Like I said, I've put through 1,000 rounds through this Glock with this optic on it, and this thing really stays on. Obviously it's a 10 millimeter. I didn't have any concerns at all. I know people have been running these. A lot of folks obviously running them on the 9 millimeters, but pretty impressed with this dot. Got to say, it's almost like cheating. You know, having an optic, especially as a new shooter, maybe because this is a direct mount fit, but it really was not any learning curve when it came to trying to get the dot in sight. Just naturally lines up. As you know, this is a direct line of sight dot. Just talking about some of the ammo I've run through this, you know, I've seen other videos, other YouTubers on here. I guess a few of these guys have had some hang-ups early on. My thing, I'll be honest, I don't know if I'm lucky or what, but it's run flawless, using some Federal Punch I put through it. 200 grain hollow points, jacketed hollow points. Got some Hornet A custom self-defense ammo, personal self-defense ammo. 155 grain XTP, no problems with that. Moving over, right? I guess we would consider this bear defense or four-legged defense. 10 millimeter, 220 hard grain, hard cast. Really impressed with this round. I'll put up a little video later. I think kind of shoots fireballs. I personally love the kick. And we'll get into that also. And then ran through some 170 grain PMC. Once again, jacketed hollow point. Obviously running the other things like Blazer Brass, you know, running that through for target practice. Really impressed though, really impressed with this gun. I've had no problems. I do keep it clean. I haven't cleaned it in probably the last 400 rounds. But like I said, really love this pistol. Fits good in the hand. It's a Glock, right? Everybody says Glocks are like 2x4s, but just a very comfortable pistol. I find it a light pistol. And tell you the truth, like I said earlier in the video, I don't see much, this is going to sound crazy, but I don't see much of a bigger deal between carrying this than I do the Shield Plus almost, when I carry it in the holster that I carry it in. We'll take this thing down to the range in a few minutes. We'll get some more rounds through it. But, you know, once again, really impressed. This is the second pistol I bought in New York. There's such a hell of a long waiting list. I think we're up to 8 weeks now for every friggin' new pistol you buy, which is crazy. So what I'm doing, man, every time I buy a pistol, I'm buying 2 at a time. Gonna wrap up my first video. If you took time out of your day to listen to this friggin' New York accent, really appreciate it. Listen, had a great time. We got a lot of new content coming. Gonna be doing a lot more in detail on the Glock. I know that this was kind of an intro to my channel / Glock review, but not sure if you could even see. Super reliable, like I said earlier. Got 1,000+ rounds through it. Super concealable. A lot of you Glock fanboys out there, I know you've been saying Glock is how great it is and everything else. I'm not a fanboy yet, but I'm getting there. Might be an excuse to actually get a Glock 29 and just compare it, being I love the 10mm so much. With that being said, one thing I did want to point out, a lot of other YouTubers aren't talking about. I think one other guy mentioned the guide rod and the recoil spring is beefier in the Gen 5 than it was in the Gen 4. I'm going to order one and just do a comparison on that and see if it's true, but wanted to point that out. 99% sure that's the case. Quickly, 2 other quick corrections. I referenced the Holosun SCS as a red dot. Obviously, it's a green dot. I also said we're going to be shooting pork loin. We're not shooting pork loin, guys, especially with inflation. What I meant to say is we'll shoot pork shoulder, something with bone, something with rib. I want to make the ballistic test pretty fun like other folks do, kind of mix it up a bit. But listen, hit like and subscribe. Once again, thanks for tuning in. Everybody do your research. What you see is really my personal views, but we got a lot more content to come, especially what's going on in New York State, right? Being a first-time concealed carry holder, which I find real interesting because criminals have been doing it for decades. We'll get into that on another video. It just amuses me, some of these gun-free zones, and you know, who those are targeted for is just amazing. This state is pretty amazing, but we'll get into that. Stay 2A safe, and God bless.